The months of April and May can bring some of the most stable snowpack conditions we experience all year. Springtime has often been one of the best times to ski big alpine lines or put in bold high marks in terrain we've been avoiding all winter. The spring snowpack can change drastically day by day and often by the hour. One big factor is the sun and warm temperatures. We can easily get swings of 15 degrees Celsius in just a few hours. We can also get hit with deep snowfalls, bringing amazing skiing and riding conditions. This, however, can quickly change to heavy rain. Here's what's been going on the last few days.
All right, so here we are north of Sparwood at about 1,900 meters on a northwest aspect. We've done some probing around and discovered just kind of how the snowpack felt, so we decided to dig down and have a little look. And as you can see, it's a great picture painted here of the snowpack we have around this area. We can see the new early April snow on top. We can see our melt freeze layers here as we've gone through those sunny days. Possibly these will be a little bit thicker on our south aspects. Anywhere that we see a little more sun. On the north here, it's a little bit thinner. And then we go down through, nice solid consolidated mid-pack, a few little crust layers in there from rain events, but everything's pretty solid. And then all the way down to the bottom where we find our facets and a little bit weaker snow down there.
So we started out sledding this morning. The track was super frozen. We weren't making any sort of tracks in the snow. Our feet weren't making any kind of tracks. The sleds were overheating on the way up. This morning the bulletin was at low, and that's because the whole snowpack was frozen. We had a good overnight freeze. Now it's getting to be around noon, the sun's been super hot, and we're starting to see the upper layers of the snowpack start to melt a little bit. You can see I can make a bit of a track in the snow, so it's starting to soften up, and we've got corn snow on top. You can recognize corn snow because it's gone through a few melt freeze cycles. It's like little chips of ice. There's no recognizable snowflakes, and it's just sort of big granular forms of snow. It's really fun to ski. It's fun to sled on. This is the kind of snow that we look forward to in the spring.
Timing and aspect is everything in the spring. Avalanche hazard can go from low to high and vice versa in a matter of hours, especially if the snowpack doesn't refreeze overnight. We found dry, powder snow on a north aspect, and 40 meters away on a south aspect, we found the snow already moist.
When the snowpack becomes too warm and reaches what we call an isothermal temperature, meaning the entire snowpack is at or near 0 degrees Celsius, it loses all cohesiveness, and we get the potential for full-depth avalanches sliding right to ground. This can happen from rain or longer periods of warm temperatures and solar influence. Similarly to the way we build a snowman by rolling a small snowball over and over until it becomes a big ball, loose, wet avalanches have the potential to entrain a vast amount of snow.
Wet or moist avalanches from fresh snow can also be a hazard, especially when they have a hard crust to slide on. Here, we are able to create a small slide by pushing only 10 centimeters of fresh snow.
It's also good to remember cornices, which have built up all season, become weaker with the rising temperatures and start to fail, like this cornice at Barnes Lake. Although unlikely, there is still a possibility for deep slab avalanches to release on weak layers formed earlier in the season, like this slide near Window Mountain in the Crow's Nest. Check the weather forecast before heading out each day. If it's going to be a warm, sunny day, start early while the snow is still frozen, and avoid big avalanche terrain on solar aspects during the heat of the day. Be extra wary during periods of heavy loading from rain. Other activities may be preferable at such times anyway. A big thanks to everyone who contributed to making this winter such a success. It wouldn't have been possible without support from all of our sponsors. Also, a big shout out to all of you out there who submitted avalanche observations to the CAC and took the time to chat with us in the field and in staging areas. That's it for us this season, folks. We'll be back again next year when the snow starts to fly.